wanted to give you a quick step-by-step video. So if you're stuck in self-quarantine or you're stuck in boredom and you don't want to venture out to the stores, this is going to be a quick recipe and way for you to get some yogurt in your household that'll last you about 10 days, okay? So for this, I am using our fresh pasteurized milk. So we got it from the girls and then we pasteurized it and then we actually let it sit a day just because yesterday was crazy with all the weather, okay? So right now I'm gonna show you what I'm doing on the stovetop. So here I am getting the milk to get 180 degrees. As you can see, it gets a little bit flaky on the top, so you just wanna lightly move the milk around. And then you want to get it to about 180 degrees, so it's killing all that bad bacteria, but also breaking down the proteins and everything else to allow us to get the thick of the yogurt. So I just removed it off of the stovetop. It was 180 degrees. You turn off the stove, you take it to a countertop. If you leave it on the stove, it'll just take longer to cool down because of the heat from the burners are still going to keep it warm. So you do want to try to remove it off the stove if you can. Now what we're doing is we're going to let it sit at basically room temperature, and we're going to let it drop to about 112 degrees. This is what the bacteria considers a room temperature. So basically what this is going to do is it's going to settle all of the good bacteria and the proteins that we've kind of awakened. And then what we're going to do is we're going to add our culture into it and let the culture sit for 2 minutes before we mix anything. And then we're going to lightly spread it around. So right now we're going to let this wait and cool off. It takes probably about 10 minutes. And then we're going to move on to the next step. Sometimes when it's cooling, it gets kind of like a flat, like almost looks like a hard piece of milk on top. What you want to do is you want to work that out. So it's almost like you're making like a frothy milk. Basically what's happening is the milk is still really, really warm. So it's basically putting a thick surface over it so it's not cooling, so it's getting harder. So if you kind of froth up the milk, it allows it to breathe and then it'll slowly cool down. So what I've done is I've frothed it, and now what I'm allowing to do for the rest of the time that it's cooling is that all that froth is going to work its way down so that when it's time to pour it, we don't have any like of the froth and stuff. And the cultures don't get stuck in the foam. Okay, so our yogurt has hit our 112 mark. It was about 10 to 15 minutes. I was able to do a couple other things around the house. So now we're gonna add our culture. For this yogurt, I'm using New England Cheese Company's creamy yogurt. I have used the sweet one before and the creamy, and they honestly taste the same, but I do like the consistency of the creamy better. So we're gonna do that. So it's 1 full packet. For my yogurt maker, it's 42 ounces of milk. So it's just under half a gallon. You sprinkle it all the way around. So it gets all over it. Make sure it's completely empty, and now I like to let it sit for about 2 minutes so it can work into the milk. This way, when it's ready to mix, it's already kind of started its process, and then the longer you're letting it sit, actually the creamier the yogurt. So I like a creamier yogurt just so if I want to eat it by itself, it has a better consistency. Some people like thinner, but this is to get a little bit more creamy yogurt. Okay. All right, so we've let our cultures sit for 2 minutes. And you just kind of lightly mix it. All right, so now what I like to do is I like to put it in a Pyrex glass so that it's easier to pour into the yogurts. Okay, so there's still a little bit left. So what I do is I have my yogurt glasses, and I pour my milk into there. Okay. So these are a little fuller than I usually do, but that's okay. So here are my yogurts. They're ready to be set. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna put this top on it. The caps are on top of it. You can date it. That way you know when you made it. So
So you put your top on?
You're gonna put your timer on. So we're gonna do 7. Okay, and then you hold this down and you listen for a beep and the blue. So now we know in 7 hours our yogurts will be ready, okay? If you are busy and it ends up sitting 8, that's okay. It will probably be creamier. It'll just have a little bit tartar taste, all right?
Okay everybody, so the alarm just went off, so this means that they're ready to go. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna remove the tops. I'm gonna date it for today. These are really easy. We move them over like that. So it says 17, whoops. And then I'm gonna put it in the refrigerator and we'll have our goat yogurt, all right? Anyways, hope this helped out. If you have any questions, feel free to leave messages below and I will talk to you guys soon.